So let's all start the gathering with an intention with all of us to connect to the energy that's present through 3 ohms. Can we chant this all together? And as it was, Swami Poya's message to me to help people to connect to the bhakti or the devotional energy, I'm going to play the mantra that represents that energy. Shri Punji Karange Virapar Revanua Kahe Kodare Shri Punji Karange Virapar Revanua Kahe Kodare Shri Punji Karange Virapar Revanua Kahe Kodare. Right. It's awesome. So thank you all for coming to join us tonight in satsang. And I'm here with Jordan, my good friend in Austin. And I thought it was a great idea that he might interview me tonight, and so I could talk a little bit about my journey so far, since it's pretty much halfway, or the first year. So it'd just be a wonderful way to update everyone and really help to connect people to what I'm doing in a more personal way. So,
sure. Okay. Hi, everybody. So I thought my first basic question would be, I was walking up the driveway, and I saw there's a vehicle in the driveway. I'll just show everyone the vehicle. That's the vehicle. That is Mr. Lottman's home, and how he travels the country. My understanding is you never stay in a place for more than a few days. So I'd like to know, what are you doing and why are you doing it?
So yeah, that indeed is my new van, and also now my new home. So it's like a sort of perfect timing because the first year I was living in my my white van whose name was Persistence, and so that was an interesting adventure. But I'll kind of talk about, like you said, what am I doing and how I got to be living in a van. um, so just over a year ago, my spiritual teacher Swamiji, who you can see down there in the corner, I had a darshan with him, and he asked me to go on this journey for 2 years to talk to people about the spiritual teachings and to sort of spread the energy of satsang. So this was back last April, and ever since then, and it was sort of a very short conversation, perhaps only 3 minutes long or so, where he asked me to do this. This was his what he calls his sankalpa, or his determination. So my reaction was kind of interesting. At first, I thought travel around the United States and live in a vehicle is kind of what he said, and I thought to myself, well, how could I make this easier? How could I possibly make this easier? So I thought, well, maybe I'll just stay in Austin where I was living and just hold satsang around there. Maybe that would be easier. But then I thought, no, I'm going to follow the words exactly to the T. So immediately I began the process of sort of divesting everything that I had to spend full time on this, which is what he said in his own words, to spend full time on the spiritual path, speaking to people about this. So I sold my business. I pretty much either sold or gave away my clothes. I sold my car, my small car, and I got rid of my apartment. And I bought a van and had a bed installed in it. And I tried to make the van livable, so I had a solar panel put in it, and like I got a little stove, and it turned into like a sweet little home. And I named the car Persistence. And that is how I set off. And then 1 year later, today, just a few days ago, Persistence broke down, and I decided that it was time to get a new van. So the van that you showed was indeed the sort of the you could say maybe the brother or sister of persistence, who is sort of taking over that role of helping me to transport myself across the country, and has become my new home.
What's the name of the new van?
I don't have a new name, but I'm sure it will come to me. It will be sweet.
Because persistence is sort of implies that there's a lot of work and struggle. So do you feel like it still has to be a name in the realm of struggle, or do you think the name could be from a different angle?
Yeah, maybe it could be named something that sounds really easy and flowing. Maybe very symbolic, because the car actually drives very well and very easy.
So has your journey been flowing, or has it required persistence?
So since I've started pretty much last April. Uh, at the beginning, it was actually quite intense, and it wasn't flowing. Was not that was not the word I would term, just because from the very start that I bought the car for systems, um, it started to break down. Um, probably, I don't know, probably at least 5 or 6 times while I was in Austin before I actually set out. That was an interesting beginning. Um, so that really wasn't very much flowing. And then even as I drove away, my first stop being to Austin, to Dallas, to see Ahmad the Hugging Saint, that on the way, the car lost power, completely turned off in the middle of the freeway, and lost power steering. So I struggled to move persistence over to the side of the road so I could figure out how to kind of fix her, and then ended up I was able to do that. So and then I set off, and I finally got to Amman. I got to get a hug from her, and that was a year ago. And actually, funny enough, this weekend I'm going to see Amma again to get a hug from her. Yes.
So there are a couple of words that you used, which I would like to have you define, since either people may not have heard of them, if you're reaching a wider audience, and also people may have an idea of what it means, but you may have a different take on it. So can I just say the words and then have you define them? Okay. Well, actually, you didn't say all these words, but I thought you could define them. Darshan, Swami, Guru, and Satguru, and in how maybe some of those are the same, but what do they really mean to you? Oh, and Satsang also.
So repeat the first word.
So you said you had a darshan with your Swami,
Okay.
and I don't know what the difference between a Swami and a Guru, and what is a darshan?
Okay. So I've known Swami Purna since 2008. The first time I met him, she was in New York City, of all places. And Swami just means sort of like holy man, holy person. You say holy person. Swami. It's a Sanskrit word, pretty much meaning holy. And what does holy mean? Well, holy means spiritual, person who has spiritual realization, spiritual understanding, beyond the normal physical and mental realm. And whenever one has a sort of a private audience with a holy person, it's called a darshan. So I received a blessing last April when I went to a retreat with Swami Purna. And that blessing pretty much means I'm in his presence and he blesses me with quote-unquote spiritual energy. It's really the only way I could describe it. And Swami Purna is what you mentioned, a Sat Guru, and then there's of course the name Guru as well. So I'll describe that. First of all, some people have actually said to me, are you a guru? And I definitely say no. I definitely say no. So a guru means someone who brings one from darkness to light. Meaning someone who has spiritual realization, who is there to bring that spiritual energy to others so that they too can understand what it is to be spiritual. So that would be what a guru is. It's kind of like when you are around a guru, you are learning about spirituality through, you could say, an almost invisible transmission, because as we all know, each of us has a certain kind of transmission, whether it's anger, sadness, depression, happiness, whatever we exude out to the world, that's our transmission. And if one has sort of realized a higher state of consciousness, if you could say oneness with all that is, a feeling of like I'm one with the chair and the air and the floor, and there's nothing that isn't different from me. Everything is within me. That would be spiritual realization, sort of substrate of all that is, spirituality, beyond the mind and beyond the body. So a guru is someone who has that spiritual realization. And a Satguru is the guru from which all gurus come. So imagine that you have lots of teachers in the world, and lots of gurus who have spiritual realization and understanding of the soul, and the sort of understanding of what's behind the mind and the body, and what creates all of this. But then there are very few rare beings in which, imagine like all the gurus are like rivers and they flow down, and then the Satguru is the ocean to which all rivers flow. And that is the Satguru, the spiritual teacher that holds all the rest of the gurus within his own mind. You could call the Satguru, Swami Purna, as that presence which is everywhere and everything. And so one cannot leave or escape the Satguru. So in a sense, you wouldn't say that Satguru is a person, per se, but rather a consciousness, a beingness. And I could explain more, but that's pretty much the basics of it.
Okay, well, I wanted to sort of do a follow-up on that, so you can go further and also dive into this, because so when you say that the Satguru has a spiritual understanding, has a consciousness where they are one with all that is, are you talking about, and you're saying it's not a person, it's a being, and all flow into this, it sounds like you're describing God or Messiah. So I'm very curious as to the difference, or if there is a difference. And then after you explain that, I would like you to talk about what kind of reactions you get from people, because immediately my mind goes to 2,000 years ago with Jesus, where people would say certain things, and the reaction that they got wasn't very welcoming. So I'm just curious. Obviously, you're not getting, no one's stoning you or feeding you to the lions, but you are, I think, probably having to struggle in terms of people hearing what you're saying, especially the implications. So, if you want me to recap, or did you kind of get?
Yeah.
Moving closer each time.
So I can't explain the Satguru because I don't know what it is. I don't understand it. I can't grasp it. All that I know, really, very simply, is that I have found a teacher that is very dear to my heart. I've met many spiritual teachers, and when I met Swamiji, it touched me very deeply. The moment he walked into the room of that bookstore in New York, I just had tears streaming down. And I knew somehow that I had been waiting, could be hundreds of thousands of years, for this being, whatever it is, to come into my life. And that I was prepared to surrender everything to it. other than that, I could never describe to you what it is or compare it to anything.
And does everyone who meets Purna have the similar response? And if not, why not?
I asked that question myself. No, not everyone has that reaction. Every person, I mean, you kind of know who your spiritual teacher is. You kind of feel the resonance. You kind of just know it intuitively. No one has to tell you or whatever. It just kind of, it hits you. And some people only come into Swamiji's presence and they don't feel anything, you know. And then some are sort of down on the floor and just bowing in gratitude for Swamiji's presence. So why does that happen? Who knows? I mean, it just, perhaps because I've had connection to Swamiji in past lives, Swami Purna in past lives, and because of the growing love that I had for him over those past lives, that finally I came to this one. In the moment that I saw him, I recognized that this was the one, and that I would be with him for eternity. And it was just no question about that. So sometimes it takes time for one to sometimes even build a relationship with a guru to recognize whether they really connect or not. It may take some time. Sometimes it's not immediate. I guess it's just different for each person. I used to have an expectation that everyone would just fall in love with Swamiji, you know, the moment they saw him. And I was really found myself very deluded. And I'm like, oh, I guess I'm wrong. I guess it's, you know, everyone has their own teacher. So I never push the idea on others. I allow people to just feel for themselves, to figure it out for themselves. And that hopefully I can sort of be a clear conduit for whatever energy that flows through for other people to experience that. And because Swamiji has blessed the gatherings so that, in a sense, quote unquote, that energy can come through for others to experience themselves.
So, thank you. So you said that you're never pushing the idea that people should have the same feeling that you have. But is that your mission? And if that's not your mission, what is your mission? And also you use the term satsang, if you can define that in your answer.
My mission is just to bring the energy of light to people through the grace of Swami Purna, through the energy, through the blessing of Swami Purna. My mission is to follow his guidance and to the T, pretty much. Satsang, for me, satsang is like a song for Swamiji. It's like, for me, it's like every time I have a satsang, it's like this song that I'm singing for him. A song of love and joy and gratitude for him, for that presence. And through that, hopefully others can feel the love and the joy that comes through.
Okay, so you said your mission is to bring the energy of light to people. So I'd like you to elaborate what that means, because you don't literally mean photons, I would suspect.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get like super specific with you. And then you said follow his guidance to a T. But as far as I know, you've only had this 3-minute conversation. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So light really has to do with the word enlightenment. Enlightenment. So enlightenment means bringing positive energy into one's being so that it becomes more positive. It becomes more, you could say, radiant, more loving, more joyous, more peaceful. Um, that's what I would call light. That's what I would call light. So, and I think that everyone really is looking for the light, you know? Everyone is looking to be happier. And you can usually tell with a person whether they're happy or not. And that's the light. That's the light that's shining through them. And then to connect to the Sadguru is like the ultimate light, the infinite light, infinite happiness, infinite love, infinite joy. Joy and love wherever you see. Wherever you look, that's all you can experience. That's the Sadguru. So, and then the other question was,
oh, you said you want to follow. Your mission is to follow his guidance to a T, but there's only a 3-minute conversation. So
yeah. I don't really talk much to Swamiji, and even when I'm with Swami Purna, it's mostly in silence anyway. I am speechless. So that's the funny thing about it. You know, his guidance really comes from within. His guidance comes from within. In a sense, the messages come through, and they kind of tell me what to do and what to say, and because I have no idea what I would say in a satsang or how my life's going to go or where I'm going to go necessarily. And so really what it is about tuning in to the sort of inner guidance, and that's quote-unquote his voice. That's that grace energy, that light that more and more guides the being to think in a certain way, to talk in a certain way, to express in a certain way, to meet certain people, and so on and so forth. He has, when I've met Swamiji personally, told me to go to particular cities, but pretty much that's the extent of his physical guidance, you could say.
So there's a comment from Courtney saying that the volume is low. So Courtney, if you could tell us if that's still the case now that we've raised the volume, and we appreciate that. And if anyone watching has any questions, please feel free to type them in. Shall I keep going?
Yeah.
Okay, so very illuminating. Okay, so let's get very practical. All right, a little bit here. So you don't have a job. You're just traveling around. So you're basically, I assume, eating up your savings to do this. So you're sacrificing a great amount. So first, is that true? And the second part is, if that is true, the basic question that anyone typically asks whenever they do something is, what are you getting out of it? Maybe you don't ask that question, but that's a practical question. Two-part.
In a real sense, when I said yes to that command that Swamiji gave, I gave up everything, and so I have no more of my own money. I have no more of my material things. I don't, it's not mine anymore. It's been given up. It's for the use of that energy which guides rather than for me. In a more sort of personal sense, indeed, pretty much most of my savings has been spent, is gone. Which is a wonderful thing. Because I used to be a financial planner and worry a lot about money, my money, other people's money. And so now to test the limits or the boundaries of that worry is such a gift. Such a gift. I could not ask for anything more than to be willing to live on the edge in dedication to the Satguru. To slowly peel away and let go of all the fears, face the fears, and then, kind of walk through them. One of my goals in life is to walk through all of my fears, to face all of them head on, purposely kind of walk through the fire. And the money thing is just an example. What am I getting out of it? As I give up the attachment to material things in my life, such as money, such as friends, such as fame and fortune and all of that, whatever I used to treasure. As I give that up, what I'm gaining is a deeper connection to the love that I want. The experience of love, the experience of joy, the experience of happiness. And those experiences I knew could not come to me unless I emptied myself of all of my attachments. That I could never truly experience permanent happiness, permanent love, and permanent joy without giving up absolutely everything for this cause. And so that's what I gain. So in a sense, I gain everything, and I lose everything.
Okay. So what about the future? Do you think about the future? Do you have goals for the future?
That's a good question. Because I've been going through that lately, with a particular issue. Maybe some people have read my blog.
What's the website?
On wanderfortruth.com. The latest blog is, I forgot what the name of it is, but it's about a particular kind of goal, you could say, or thought that I had about what I wanted after the 2-year journey. And I could feel that part of me really wanted to gain a following. It's so true. I wanted a place that I could go back to have a sangha, have a place where I could go back and continue to inspire people in their spiritual path. And recently, what happened was, in a great time in one particular city, stayed there for quite a while and stayed with someone who was very enthusiastic and invited lots of people in the community and satsangs practically every other day. Wonderful gatherings, and I developed such a great relationship with them. And in my mind, this is what was creeping in. It was thinking, wouldn't it be great if I could settle here and continue on with the sort of legacy that I created? That's the trick, right? That I created. And then recently when I got an email from the person who was sort of responsible for really kind of spreading the word about satsang and making it like amazing. There were like so many people coming that it was there was no longer any interest in that. That this person didn't have any interest and didn't want me to come again. I'd been planning to go there to do, lots more gatherings to help people. And when I got that email, I felt a cold pit in my stomach. And I thought to myself, what am I doing this for? I can't even go back to a place where they'll want me, so to speak. What am I going to do after 2 years? I have nothing. Sometimes I go to places and only just a couple of people come to satsang. And I wonder after, I had doubts. I've given up all these things, and after these 2 years, what if I have no place to go back to? In a sense, no place to rest my head. So a lot of grief and sadness came up around that. I realized I had really attached to the idea that I would get something out of it, that I would have a place to come back to. And through this interaction with the person, immediately that attachment started to dissolve, because I realized I could not count on that. That too was just a fantasy, you could say. And so it's letting go. And it's in a very deep process of letting go that any results actually come out of this.
Yeah, it's interesting. I was just thinking about when you were speaking of this idea of the scales, right? So on one end is money, recognition, being seen as a spiritual guide or substitute guru or something. And on the other end is this love that you mentioned, which is kind of immaterial and causeless. And almost by either it's being ripped away from you or you're tossing it out, you're saying this is what's important. Is that kind of what's going on?
I'm really learning what's important in life. I'm learning I have a lot of attachments to this world, and they're being taken away. And it's hard. And I certainly struggle with it. But with the release of one thing after another, this background experience of causeless, this feeling of presence, of heart, expands each time one thing is lost. And when I feel even just a sort of, you could say, drop of the power of that love, it overwhelms everything. And it's easy to let go of attachments. there's no question. The pleasure of what I'm getting, whether it's the fame or the fortune, versus the feeling of heart opening and flowering, that there's no comparison. And so as one side becomes more powerful, it overwhelms the other side. So it's easy to let go. And it's easy to accept all my money is being drained away. And, you know, all the people who I thought would be following me are going away. You know, it's easy for that to occur because the inner state of the heart is satisfactory for me, is fulfilling for me. And the more that the scale tips to the feeling of that powerful love, the more it starts to take over the life. And it's like looking through the world through love glasses, you know, whatever you can call it, pink glasses or something like that, where everything seems like that, everything appears like that. And it's fantastic. It's fantastic. It's nothing that I've ever experienced in my life has come to this, close to this feeling. The most delicious piece of chocolate that I've ever had is like a speck compared to the vast love that has even sort of poured through me. And even that love, in the whole scheme of things that I experience, is in itself a drop of the sort of possible love through the Satguru. So I think about that a lot too.
So you mentioned chocolate. And so my question for you now is, are you giving up chocolate? Are you celibate? Like, and what is the value, if you are doing those things, of doing those things?
Years ago, I got fed up with chocolate. I got fed up, and I said, "All right, I'm putting my foot down, and I'm going to release this desire." So I did chocolate meditation, and I said, "All right, I'm going to go for 15 minutes and put this chocolate in my mouth and let it melt, and I'm not going to swallow it." And so I sat there in meditation and focused on the sensation of the chocolate in my mouth. It was a wonderful piece of chocolate, you know, one of my favorite kinds. And through the process of that melting and it turning into goo, and kind of just this strange mess inside my mouth, I didn't swallow it. By the end, I spit out the chocolate, and after that, it was gone. Didn't want chocolate anymore. Didn't care for it. It just didn't even cross my mind to eat the chocolate. Why would I do something like that? Why? Well, think about this. One of the great ways to progress on one's spiritual path is through meditation. And so, you know, kind of going within to discovering deeper parts of the mind and deeper beingness, you could say. And if I'm sitting in meditation and I'm thinking, when am I going to get that next chocolate bar? It disturbs my meditation. I can't go any further. What do I do? You see what I mean? So, as the desire for chocolate melted away, so to speak, I could sink into deeper meditation. So with each desire that fades away, that is, the charge becomes less, you could say. It may not be totally gone, but at least the charge is not there. then meditations become more powerful, deep, and I'm able to go into deeper states of consciousness with not so many desires crowding in my mind. What other things have I given up? Well, you could say, indeed, yeah, I am celibate. And that has been extraordinarily helpful for the path, just because the sexual energy can be channeled for a raising of the Kundalini, or the spiritual energy, to experience higher states of consciousness. So through the not focusing on sexual things, that energy is sort of like this, and so meditation becomes more powerful through that as well. And of course, many other things have quote unquote been given up. You may not even have to say give up. I mean, they're more like I just don't even care about them anymore. I don't even think about them. Like TV wouldn't even. It doesn't even cross my mind to watch the TV or watch the news or something like that. Certain things just don't really matter so much anymore. They just kind of naturally fall away with more focus on the spiritual path. It's kind of what happens. The more that one focuses on the spiritual path, naturally other desires kind of fall away, because I'm saying that this is my priority. And that's been my experience with desires.
So if you're not going to bars to pick up women, and you're not watching TV, what do you do with your free time? What do you do at night?
At this point, I do a lot of devotional practices. My mind and my feelings are very much sort of channeled into devotional energy, and so I listen to devotional music and connect to the energy of that, and I read devotional stories, and I even watch devotional YouTube videos of things that people put on the internet that are very inspiring to me, to help to increase that devotion or that dedication to the spiritual path. I also really enjoy prayer. I find that it's a very powerful practice to set intentions for people, set intentions for the earth, for loved ones, and so on and so forth. Just to have positive intentions all the time is very uplifting, and my hope is that could possibly make a difference in people's lives, and connecting to spiritual energy too through that prayer as well. So I really enjoy those things.
Okay, I want to ask you about prayer and devotion in relationship to, and I need you to define these terms for people, because we don't know who will be watching on YouTube. Duality and non-duality, because it seems to me, as a, whatever you call me, if you're praying to some god or some guru, then you're not having oneness with all it is. You're saying, okay, the power's over there, and I'm this thing asking for this event to happen. And similarly, in devotion, I am devoting myself to you, God, Jesus, Guru. You're over there, I'm over here, we're separate. I mean, Ramana Maharshi maybe said, does the mouth thank the hand for feeding it? So where do you fall out that? Is there a way to reconcile the non-dual and the dual aspect, or do I have it wrong about my sort of
We live in a dual world, so it's hard to even grasp what non-duality is. So I like duality. And I like loving a Satguru. I enjoy staring at the picture and connecting to it. Because imagine that, Swamiji's picture is kind of like a window into non-dual consciousness. So, and also Swamiji is like at the same time, someone who I can love. I just don't really know any other way to express my love except particularly to a person or figure. It's my favorite way to do it. I just really like to do it. Some people are not really into that. In fact, people may have aversion to doing that. But from my own personal feeling, I feel a lot of love when I stare at the picture, when I am in the presence of that physical being. And at the same time, as that connection deepens, as I become more in love with the quote-unquote individual Swamiji, that I could feel the love within my own self expanding, the heart expanding. And then I fall in love with the love itself. Falling in love with love itself. And devotional to the love itself. Whatever my highest experience of love is at the time. That I devote myself to that. I get excited about that. I have gratitude for that. I'm moved by that. And the more I focus on that inner feeling of love, the more it starts to expand in an extraordinary manner. So extraordinary that suddenly I'm looking out into the world and this is all that I'm seeing. I'm seeing people, but I'm not seeing the people. I'm feeling the love within them. So they're no longer people. They're like that experience that I have with the picture of the Satguru. So the Satguru or Swamiji is just like a bridge to an experience, a deeper part of my own true self that is then ended up projecting into the world so that everything becomes the Satguru. Everything is that infinite love. And so this is a process, and I don't try to hide anything about loving the Satguru or Swamiji's form. I've sort of given up that. I used to be embarrassed about that. It's interesting. I used to be, but why? It's like when you fall in love with someone, just be honest. Just be honest. Be true to your love. Don't hide it. Express it. Light a candle for your loved one. Give flowers to your loved one. Do everything you can to express your love through whatever physical way that you can. Bow to your loved one. Whatever way that one can express love, do it. Give everything to that love, and it will break open your heart. It broke open my heart and continues to break it. And that is how the connection to the physical form bridges into the whole.
So I think what blocks a lot of people from love, even on a romantic level, but certainly with the guru or Satguru, would be the vulnerability aspect and the fear aspect. So maybe if you can just speak about that, either the parallels between that, the differences between that, your personal experience with that.
Yeah. I've had a lot of I've had a lot of trouble being authentic with my love for Swamiji, because I'm afraid of what people might think. They think I'm joined a cult or I've gone crazy. I'm deluded. I'm afraid of my reputation being ruined. I'm just scared what people might think. They might deride me or make fun or never want to come back and see me again, won't be my friend, all that stuff. So normally, I'm oftentimes just hiding it away in my room. You know. Oh, I'm all alone now. I can really open up and be myself and really express what I'm feeling. And the amazing love and gratitude that I'm feeling. And sometimes I really want to be that true in front of others, like in satsang, in groups, and I don't want to be afraid anymore. To be honest with that. Not just even honest, but learning how to really be present to it in front of people. Because it's different, when I'm in front of people, there's this sort of slight shutting down of the heart, actually. Yeah, there is. Because there's a little bit of fear that comes in and it says, don't be too open and don't be too vulnerable because you might get in trouble. And so day by day I'm working on it to be true to myself and to feel that through that authenticity of expression of love for Swamiji, that the right people will come. They'll see the value of that, and if they don't, fine. If they reject it or make fun of it or hate it, then it just wasn't meant to be for them, Rather than being so self-concerned with myself about my own image. Or embarrassed. And in that way, being really true to myself and to my heart, and that expression, that the possibility for the power of satsang to become great, much more of a flow, much more of a, just a channel of, you could call it divine love or whatever, that people could deeply experience inside in their own soul, that could draw out of their own soul, that I could see the possibility of that, and that in a sense I'm sort of depriving people of that opportunity to experience that within their own self, to remember that, and then it's this progress of letting go of embarrassment and fear is, in a sense, could be for the greater good, for others to really understand more deeply what this is all about. And that's just not a superficial talk about spirituality and knowledge and this is how this works and this is how that works and all that. That's not really about that. It is about the core of the heart and being totally true to oneself. And that's what I'm trying to learn.
Okay, that's great. Where are we at in time-wise? It's 8:03, so we have another hour. Is that right? There's only half an hour.
We have half an hour.
We have a half hour. Okay. So, let's see what I can. Yeah. So, when you were speaking, I thought that seems very valid. That if you were to open up, and people saw your connection, they might be drawn to have a similar connection. But I think that would also intensify their fear. As you know, a lot of gurus have done shenanigans in all sorts of realms. And how would people know to trust this particular person with their love and devotion such that they would even step into a fire for this person, as I've heard you say? So I want to talk about that. Let's go to vulnerability in terms of what if people were to say, okay, yeah, if I were to have a satsang with this guy, and let's say I did actually fall in love with this guru, well, I could end up on the road in a van giving all my money away, being celibate. Like, in other words, you see what I'm saying? Like, it's not only the fear that it's not true, but the fear that it is true. Do you see what I'm getting at?
Yeah. So, it really starts with if a person comes to satsang and they connect to the energy and they feel something, they feel inspired, that might be a hint for the first step to take about the possibility of, well, maybe I should find out what's behind this guy. You know, that might be the first step. As far as fear is concerned, there has been a lot of bad press about gurus. In fact, I had my own biases towards gurus and didn't have a lot of trust. However, the person who introduced me and suggested to go see Swamiji, I highly trusted them. That person. I trusted them very much. So because I had that trust, then I went to go see Swamiji. In fact, I flew from Los Angeles to New York just to go see him for 2 days or something. So that's how much I trust. So I would say that what I found in my journeys, that those people who connected the most to me in what I was presenting would be most likely to go visit Swamiji because they trusted me. They trusted the energy that was coming through me, and they really loved the teachings that came through, or whatever, the words that came through, and they loved the relationship. And with that building of trust, then any fears were kind of perhaps lessened, and then they could make an easier decision, like, oh yeah, this may be worthwhile to really check this out more seriously because of their connection with me. If I were to just say, well, just go see Swamiji, he's good, and I didn't know that person hadn't developed a connection, it'd be unlikely, because there's just so many gurus out there, so many spiritual teachers out there. How do you know which one? Sometimes it takes a while for fears to dissolve regarding guru. Like, there are a lot of people who have just been really hurt by their connection with the guru. Really, just their life just destroyed. And And so my feeling is that, trust your own gut, trust your intuition about whether you feel this is right or not. Trust your heart, and that will bring you to the right place. And if you have to be hurt through the particular relationship that you have with the guru, then that was sort of part of your growing process. So really willing to take the risk, in a sense. And that's what I did. At the beginning, I just kind of took the risk, I kind of took the leap, based upon my own intuition. I guess I have a willingness to take risks a lot. And I have a lot of fears, too. I experience a lot of fear. But as I said at the beginning, my spiritual path has been primarily based upon where am I afraid, and I'm going to go there. That's where I'm going. I'm going to walk right into it, experience it. And that has been very helpful in eliminating so much insecurity. I used to be very afraid of talking in front of people. I still get kind of a little bit afraid going in front of people to talk satsang. And then it kind of goes away after a while, but I still get afraid. So it still happens, and I just keep doing it. So anyway, just go with one's feelings and one's heart, and be willing to have your heart broken, and then you'll go far. You'll go far.
So we've spoken about fear, we've spoken about desire. I want to just dive a little more into expectation, both in terms of what your expectations, if any, are, and how you've let go of that. You've spoken a little bit about that already. And also, what do you think people might expect if they were to invite you to do a satsang again, define satsang for people, and what expectation they shouldn't have, and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah. At the beginning, I had a lot of expectation that people would flock to satsang, that lots of people would come. And then when I did a satsang, particularly in, this is funny, in Colorado, Fort Collins, Colorado, I had this gathering that was set up. The one satsang there, the one I had planned, it took a lot of work to get that one satsang because I didn't know anyone there. I just contacted people cold. And so this one woman invited me to her yoga studio, and I thought, oh, well, what a great idea. I don't know anyone, I don't know how many people are going to come, but I'm going to sit at the corner of the street for 3 days, and I'm going to play the harmonium at a street corner. And I'm going to put a sign in front that says satsang at the nearby yoga studio. And see how the flocks of people would just come. And so I did that every day, and I did 3 hours, probably 3 hours a day, and I was singing. I mean, up to the point of my voice would always get hoarse. And it was really fun being a street musician. And it was also I experienced humiliation as well, and that dissolved quick enough. I got used to it. I was like, that's how. I didn't know that I had resistance towards that. So did that for 3 days straight, and maybe just a couple of people came up to me during that time, and there were lots. I mean, the street was very crowded. It was like the main street that passes through Fort Collins, where all the shops were. Singing, playing the harmonium, and advertising the satsang. And when the time came, that Friday night, there was a big concert in Fort Collins, a huge concert, like concert of the year. Supposedly 50,000 people came. It was huge. The whole place, the whole city came, and people from out of town. Then I started to get a little bit concerned. Do people would rather go to the concert than to satsang? so I came and I walked in and I met the guy who was supposed to open the door to unlock the door that night because the owner wasn't there. So he opened the door and he decided to stay. And then it was just he and I. I sat down. And one other girl walked in and sat down. And so I had 2 people at that satsang. And I stayed in Fort Collins for a week, living in a park. Pretty much not knowing anyone. And I took showers in the bathroom didn't, actually the park bathroom didn't have a shower, but I would use the sink. And I would be scared at night. The police would come and arrest me for kind of sleeping in my van next to a park. And then to have that satsang after the week, waiting there for a week without a shower. Even went into the satsang, I had no shower. I mean, it was just like, and 2 people showed up, and my expectations were destroyed in that satsang. And this at the time was a hard thing to swallow, considering that I had driven hundreds and hundreds of miles to get there, with spending so much on gas and so on and so forth, just to go from place to place and have 2 or 3 people coming to satsang. So the gatherings have been this sort of one expectation after another just being ripped away or dissolved, because it's suffering to want that, to want lots of people to come. It's suffering to want people even to like me in satsang. It's suffering, because you never know. I thought everyone would like it, and then people would start arguing about the guru and stuff, and I would get kind of afraid and stuff. So I learned also, not everyone's going to like the guru either, and all of this. I mean, so many things so many expectations that I had to drop, because I wouldn't have been able to survive the trip if I had clung to those ideas of the way people had to be or the way things had to turn out. And so as far as satsangs that I do and what to expect from them, I remember going to a satsang around New York City, and the woman tried to ask me, can you tell me the format of this whole thing? Like, what are you going to start out with, and what are you going to do in between, and how are you going to finish it, just so that we can have an idea. And she was very concerned about like how it was all going to go, making sure that everyone, hoping that everyone would like it. And all I could tell her was that I don't know what's going to happen. I pretty much come to every satsang with a blank mind. And that certainly did not give her any confidence. In fact, she said, oh no, you're right, just have to let go and just see what happens. And it was funny because at that satsang, it was really beautiful, really flowing and sweet. And afterwards, she was just so excited, and she then understood why I said that. Because it wouldn't be the same if I had a format. That satsang for me is more of just a surrender to the energy that seems to flow through. And then it seems like that kind of takes over, and I may even turn into a different personality. I don't know how I'm going to act. I may feel be really loving, or I may feel very confrontive or something like that, and like challenging to people. Every satsang is so different, and it oftentimes is based upon, I mean, it usually is based upon the people who are there. It seems they kind of draw out the particular expression that comes through. And if people need a tough person, like more like a coach or a tough person to get them in line, then it seems like that comes through, and I'm real tough. And then sometimes there's just a real like feeling of like, people want a gentle, sort of loving feeling, and so that comes through, and it's very emotional and heart-oriented and tender, like the Divine Mother, And so that has been one of the challenges of letting go of any ideas of how I think satsang should go, particularly the day of the satsang. My mind tends to go, well, what am I going to talk about? And then every time I go back to, nope, I'm letting that go. Nope, I'm letting that go. And anything that comes into the mind that says it wants to talk about that, it's like I'm letting that go. Such that when I'm sitting out in front of these people, so to speak, and I'm just addressing, I'm sitting here like this, like kind of almost like deer in the headlights. Look. And then something comes, and I just start to speak. And the more that I allow it to flow, the more amazing it seems to turn out. The more that my mind tries to come in and control what's being said, or worry about what others are thinking, the more the energy shuts down. I can feel it right away. And so what I would say, if one comes to a satsang, like in this case, have an intention just to be open-minded. Be open-minded and open-hearted. Thinking, I don't know what to expect, and I just want to be open to any positivity that comes through. And really, it doesn't matter what the words are that comes through satsang. It doesn't really matter what the words are. It matters more about opening oneself to the energy fully, to be receiving, without trying to judge so much or analyze so much. Because then it's like once the conscious mind starts to come in and say, no, he should be a certain way, he should act this, or he shouldn't say that, or he shouldn't say this, boom, it shuts one down immediately. And then that person likely won't be able to feel the energy very much at all, right? But when one is open to the energy, I'll tell you, it's amazing the things that can happen. People can feel just heart opening and deeper peaceful meditations, and just so much beauty come through that allowance of the satsang to be as it is. It kind of like emptying one's cup. If I empty my cup of all my judgments and ideas of what satsang should be or how this person should look, he's too bald, or he's too rough, or he's too this, or he's too that, like all this idea of the way the person should be on the physical level, particularly, it's because a lot of times people are looking more on the physical level. That the cup is so full that how can the light kind of be revealed when the cup is full of judgment and worry and concern? And so having an intention to let those things go before satsang, one can get, quote unquote, the most out of it. And then each time, for me at least, I learn more and more to surrender to the energy. And I feel it more and more and more, particularly, let's say, if we're talking online. Sometimes online, it's more difficult to feel the energy compared to when it's in person. In person, oftentimes, people can feel the radiance much more. It's much more obvious, much more clear. Online, it may be a little bit more subtle, you could say. And so it's even more crucial online to say, okay, taking a deep breath and saying, okay, I'm going to let go of all my worries of the day, and I'm going to try to focus on this as much as possible and really be open. And then and try, if one can, even to be in a more meditative state during the course of the satsang online. And the more that one is in a deeper meditative state, the more clear it will become, the more clear the energy will become. The more one's mind is riled up with what the worries of the day, and or worried about things like, my gosh, I totally disagree with that, and now I'm shut down. Again, that can shut the energy down too. Not that one can't ask questions, and that it's good to ask questions, but just to watch when the resistance comes up, and to say oneself, and I can ask the question, but I'm not committed to living a life in total resistance. I'm committed to being open to the positivity in life, and open to seeing what unfolds in this satsang or this gathering. And then the light starts to more and more penetrate to the depths of the being, and it can heal a person on many levels: physical level, subtle level, causal meaning like soul level. Can heal one's aura. So many, and I'm not saying again that the energy comes from me per se, but when you're connecting to the energy of the Satguru meaning sort of the antidote to all of one's suffering, including physical suffering itself, right? So even the very cells can start to scintillate and glow, with that energy. And you can choose where that energy goes too. You can say, today in satsang, I want to heal my liver. My liver is very unhappy today. And maybe you feel it. Maybe you kind of feel like a little bit anger in the liver or something like that, or rage. You say, I'd like my liver to heal. And literally, with one's intention, that's where the energy goes. The power of intention is that you have control where the healing energy of the world, of the universe, goes. Where you focus on is where the healing energy goes. So that's another thing, choose what you want to be healed. Or just say, oh Lord, do what you want with me. Heal me in whatever you feel is necessary. However the universe wants to heal you, let that be done. Whatever it is. But feel free to be however you are in satsang, and try to be more and more aware of the resistances in the mind, and how to really sort of let those go and say, this don't matter so much right now. I just want to be open. And I've been doing satsang for years with Brian, my teacher, here in Austin, and I was attending online for a long time. And, I learned day by day how to connect more and more deeply. So it became very powerful. Even online, it was powerful to do it. And I went through that process, just like I'm explaining, in order to achieve that. And online satsang was my lifeline. And so that's why I encourage people, if they can, to try to connect online and see what happens. Try to do it as consistently as you can, if you can't be there in person.
So let's see how much time we have left here. Oh, we only have 3 minutes left. It's 8:27. So I guess one of my motivations for doing this video for you was because I think when you're moving to a new town, and nobody knows who you are, and maybe you don't want to spend the night in the van, and you want people to come. I assume you have some attachment, or at least hope that people will come to hear you speak, so you can address whether that's the case. But what you're doing is so unusual that I wanted to sort of give prospective people a sense that you are relatable. So I don't know if there's a question there, but I just wanted you to sort of close this. Maybe you want to play a song too, but close this in a way that kind of ties together that, whatever comes to mind.
Yeah. So I'm just a spiritual seeker that's trying to do the best that I can to follow my, you could say, my dream, so to speak, my dharma. And I'm just really doing this for the love of the Satguru. And I hope that this energy could be conveyed to people. And whether it's conveyed to one person or thousands of people, ultimately in the end, it doesn't really matter. I'm just trying to do my spiritual practice. And so, one could support that energy, that sharing of energy through, the United States by supporting the Wander for Truth cause in many different ways. One of them would be just to attend online in satsang and to connect to the energy, because as you connect to the energy, you will take it to others and you will be spreading the truth. So that would be the main way, just to connect to the energy. The other way, one could assist in the process of sharing the energy amongst more people, is to support it financially by donating at the Wander for Truth. It's wanderfortruth.com website. There's a donate button. You can donate to that. That'll pay for the gas to get the van from one place to another. So it's possible to even share this with others. Also, if you know an organization, or you like to have a satsang at your house or something, or you know someone who would like to hold satsang, a meditation group, whoever may be kind of vaguely interested in it, certainly email me and let me know, and I'd be happy. My email is blotman@yahoo.com. You can certainly email me about that. And also, if I'm in a particular town, like I'm going to Dallas this weekend, and I'm going to Dallas, I have no place to stay, so I'm just kind of going there, just kind of seeing what happens. It's usually the way of things. And so if one would like to support the cause in that way, to provide a place for me to stay, certainly that would be wonderful. A wonderful way to support the cause. And finally, I suppose most importantly is to kind of look more deeply into yourself, and see about the possibility of further growth in your spiritual path. And if maybe I can have just that kind of effect on even just one person who's willing to look more deeply into themselves and wanting to grow, to connect to their soul, That would be something. That'd be something. And then that makes the teachings alive. And I get excited about that. So I could kind of conclude with a song
Thank you.
in honor of the gathering, and also everyone online. And so these last couple of mantras are in honor of the Satguru, and again, the Satguru is that which encompasses everything, is everything, is all love, all joy, all peace, and even all suffering, all pain, everything. That's the Satguru. So it's in honor of the whole, the complete, that which is the Creator itself and all of creation. I honor that. In gratitude. Asatoma Sat Gamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityurma Amritam Gamaya. Lead us from untruth to truth. Lead us from darkness to light. Lead us from death to immortality. Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Param Brahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. In this one, this is a prayer. That last one was in honor of the Guru. And this particular one that I'm going to do is means, may all beings in all realms be happy and free. That is our prayer. And if there's anything that satsang can assist in, is the upliftment of all the beings in all the realms. We may send out this positive vibration to all the beings. May they be blessed. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Tvameva mata Cha Pita Tvameva, Tvameva Bandhus, Cha Sakha Tvameva, Tvameva Vidya Dravinam Tvameva, Tvameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva. You are my mother, yes you are. You are my father, yes you are. You're my friend, you're my relative. You are everything to me. You are my God of gods. And finally, the last mantra, which is in honor of Swamiji, who is my heart and my soul, that which I have laid my life to serve lifetime after lifetime. This song I dedicate to him. This song I dedicate to you. The whole and the complete. Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat. May all of you be blessed on your spiritual path. May you experience wonders and joy in your life. May you be happy and free. And thank you, Jordan.